What exactly is high-intensity training? High-intensity training is doing one set of an intense strength training exercise to achieve a goal of momentary muscular failure. Think max intensity. Each exercise is slow and controlled, and the entire workout is brief, intense, and focused. You generally can't do more than 20 to 30 minutes during a HIIT session. HIIT is an exercise approach that has existed for over 50 years and has helped people reach a wide range of goals. In this video, we dive into what HIIT is, how it works, the benefits it provides, and how it differs from other exercise methods. If you're new to the perfect workout or are looking to get a better understanding of the fundamental science behind our methodology, then this is for you. Arthur Jones, the inventor of knotless training machines, created HIIT in the early 1970s. Jones noted that people often focus on the most exercise our bodies can tolerate, but we should instead look at the minimal amount of exercise that we need for great results. Ultimately, he concluded we should train harder, but for shorter and less frequent workouts. Our muscles benefit by performing an all-out effort while also resting sufficiently between those intense workouts. Training intensely and frequently could lead to overtraining. Those concepts birthed high-intensity training with a focus on quality over quantity. At The Perfect Workout, we use brief, infrequent workouts to help you achieve incredible results. To be effective and time efficient, our workout is slow motion strength training, a style of high-intensity training. But don't let the name fool you. Just because our method of strength training is slow doesn't mean it's not intense. In fact, using slow lifting speeds as opposed to lifting faster with excess force and momentum, we ask our muscles to do more work, making the workouts very intense, highly effective, yet ultra safe. Okay, so we know HIIT is good for you, but how does it work? High-intensity training gets you great results while avoiding overtraining. This is due to training harder but less often, or a quality over quantity approach. And this manifests in both the workout frequency and the execution. With HIIT, only one set is performed per exercise. Each repetition is executed with a high focus on form, moving the weight through a full range of motion with a slow and controlled tempo. Each exercise is performed to muscle success, when the muscle reaches a point where it can no longer move the weight on the lifting phase of the repetition. This is also known as muscle failure. Training to muscle success ensures that maximum amount of muscle fibers are trained and stimulated. In other words, your muscles get the most benefit out of one single set. Muscles continue to become stronger over time through progressive overload. This involves a perpetual increase in the demand placed on the muscles during training. And HIIT achieves this through frequent weight training. HIIT achieves this through frequent weight increases, even if the weight increase is a very small amount, like 2 pounds. To keep the exercise effective and challenging enough to stimulate muscle growth, weights should be increased when the current weight being used no longer achieves muscle success within 1 to 2 minutes. HIIT workouts typically train all major muscle groups of the lower and upper body. The recommended frequency for HIIT training is 2 to 3 days per week on non-consecutive days, so like Monday, Thursday, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. A typical high-intensity slow-motion training workout generally consists of about 7 to 8 exercises per session, and this may vary slightly depending on a number of factors, whether you train once a week for injuries or limitations, or your specific goals. In theory, you can hit all major muscle groups with really just 4 exercises. Leg press hits your glutes, quadriceps, calves. You got your chest press that hits your pectorals and shoulders and triceps. The lat pull down, lats, biceps, and abdominals. And then the leg curl, which targets your hamstrings. Depending on the individual, other HIIT exercises can be incorporated to target specific muscle areas, including leg extension, focusing on the quads, bicep curl for biceps and forearms, triceps for triceps, tricep extension, hip abduction for gluteus medius, minor, and TFL, hip adduction for inner thighs, Compound row for trapezoids, rhomboids, biceps, which is often interchangeable lat pull down, and then abdominal exercises like the abdominal machine for your abs. If we go back to those first 4 exercises, you'll notice the entire body can be targeted with just those 4, making it relatively simple to get a full body workout. But more exercises can be added if needed to fully fatigue the smaller muscles that may not have achieved muscle success on bigger muscle machines or some of those compound movements. For example, the biceps are a secondary muscle used on the lat pull down. The preacher curl can be added to workouts to fully target them. This does not mean it is necessary to do all 11 exercises in every single workout. In fact, having the ability to easily complete 11 slow motion strength training exercises is a good indication that the intensity level is not high enough. Think of your workouts as a short sprint, not a mile-long race. The reason there isn't a mile dash in track and field is because nobody can sprint that far or work that hard for that long. So, milers must pace their efforts rather than sprint the entire mile. Since intense effort is what stimulates the best results from the body, demanding slow motion strength training workouts have to be relatively brief. If you feel like you can perform slow motion strength training exercises for more than 20 minutes at a time, you can probably improve your results by increasing the intensity and learning how to work a little bit harder. An important thing to note is that HIIT is not HIIT. High intensity training started in the early 1970s, although another training with a similar name has achieved popularity in maybe around the 2000s. High intensity training is often confused with high intensity interval training. The names sound alike, but the styles of training are very different. High intensity training is a strength training approach that helps people gain strength, muscle, and improve their overall health. High intensity interval training is an approach to aerobic exercise that is also used to improve cardiovascular health and overall fitness, although it's not an effective way to build muscle and strength. Interval training is an aerobic workout that alternates intervals of all-out aerobic effort, like running with sprints, with low-intensity aerobic intervals like walking in between. The intervals last around 30 to 60 seconds with about 1 to 5 minutes of lower intensity activity in between. If you are going to do cardio, minute for minute, an interval workout is more effective than traditional approaches to aerobic exercise. If you want the most efficient option, you can also improve your cardiovascular health through high intensity training without intervals, just 20 minutes twice a week. Both involve a high degree of effort and both are generally brief workouts. Both increased your heart rate significantly. However, high-intensity training is a style of strength training that improves muscular fitness, aerobic fitness, and health. The other one, the interval training, is primarily aerobic training that improves aerobic fitness and health. High-intensity training is not just lifting weights. But how is it different than what most people do in the gym when they say they're going to lift weights? The American College of Sports Medicine and general bodybuilding fitness approaches tend to be the standard for average gym goers when it comes to strength training. Their recommended method of training is what we would refer to as traditional weightlifting. Both ACSM and bodybuilding leaders recommend and emphasize more work and less intense effort than high-intensity training. For example, other workouts might call for 20 bicep curls with a light weight performed twice, as opposed to high intensity, which calls for less than half as many reps with weight 2 or 3 times as heavy performed once. ACSM advocates for more sets, about 2 to 3 sets of 20 to 30 reps per exercise, not pushing to muscle success, and a much faster repetition speed. Similar to HIIT, they recommend a frequency of 2 to 3 days per week. Now, you might hear the word bodybuilding and immediately think, well, that's not me, that's not what I'm interested in. But many weightlifting principles you might be familiar with stem from bodybuilding methodology. Bodybuilding programs typically stress the quantity of work more than what's featured in HIIT-style training. Bodybuilders train about 4 to 6 days per week, at least 3 sets per exercise, and workouts that focus on a limited number of muscle groups in each workout. Sounds familiar, right? Overall, bodybuilding uses an approach that emphasizes quantity of work to build muscle strength and size. Bodybuilders usually don't perform each exercise to muscle success. And considering these workouts often take 45 to 90 minutes, it's not uncommon for bodybuilders to spend around 4 to 8 hours per week in the gym. Bodybuilding's emphasis on a higher volume of weekly exercise is the recommended approach for those who want to maximize their muscle size. While some professional bodybuilders have used HIIT-style training, like Mike Menser, Casey Viator, Dorian Yates, the vast majority of professionals have used more traditional bodybuilding programs. But for those who are seeking general exercise benefits, a HIIT-style approach just makes more sense. The majority of strength training's health and fitness benefits are achieved with 2 to 3 shorter workouts per week. And for those pursuing bodybuilding, HIIT still has a place in your workout toolbox. So ultimately, who is high-intensity training for? Well, HIIT can be used to reach virtually any goal a person desires from exercise. Seriously. While it's not specialized for professional athletes or fitness competitors, it has been proven to help people of the general population with a large range of goals. For instance, a ballerina can't perfect her ballet technique by doing only HIIT, and an ultramarathoner can't get good at marathons without running. But both of them can protect their joints, gain strength, and improve their health with HIIT, and might include that in their training regimen. But most of the general population aren't ballerinas and ultramarathoners. If you seek an improvement in common measures of health, more strength, more muscle, greater aerobic fitness, more confidence, a more positive overall mood, or weight loss, HIIT will help. HIIT's unique approach to exercise, though, makes it especially useful for certain groups of people. The first group are beginners. HIIT's emphasis on quality over quantity is well suited for people who are starting an exercise program or are maybe resuming after a long break. The emphasis on slow, controlled repetitions increases training safety, making it much less likely that a beginner would become injured while learning proper lifting techniques. Also, anecdotally speaking, soreness seems to be caused by a large increase in the amount of training. And we've noticed that debilitating levels of soreness happen when someone goes from doing little or no exercise to 3 or more sets per exercise. HIIT's approach of being less is more, performing 1 set per exercise, it's really unlikely to cause anything more than a mild level of soreness after the first 3 sessions. So it's a great place to start for someone relatively new to exercise or someone starting again. The next group of people are those who have injuries, conditions, or are seeking pain relief. Exercise has the opportunity to help or hurt people with injuries. And when properly executed, strength training reduces pain, improves strength around the joint, and enhances the overall function of an injured joint. Using a low amount of exercise, 1 set, on the injured joint, with a high emphasis on form, allows the joint to become stronger without putting an unnecessary amount of strain on that area. Strength training just 2 times per week with 15, 20-minute workouts is shown to help reduce joint pain in a number of areas. The next group of people are those who are time-strapped, and this is most of us. It is one of the most common reasons people don't start or stick to an exercise routine. Contrary to many popular exercise approaches, HIIT requires a very feasible weekly time investment. The perfect workouts approach, for example, generally requires a consistent commitment of 20 minutes 2 times per week. That's it. While many of us have a wealth of responsibilities, 40 minutes per week for exercise is very doable. We've covered a lot today, so let's recap. Overall, high-intensity training features a safe, effective, time-efficient approach for improving your physical and mental health, physique, and functional abilities. HIIT philosophy: train harder, but for shorter and less frequent workouts. Perform an all-out effort at each workout while also resting sufficiently between those intense sessions. The benefits of HIIT are enormous, including muscle growth, added strength, enhanced confidence, an increase in metabolism, fat loss, a reduction in blood pressure and cholesterol, regulated blood sugar levels, and time efficiency. HIIT workouts typically train all major muscle groups of the upper and lower body, and the recommended frequency for HIIT training is 2 to 3 days per week, non-consecutive days. And remember, HIIT is not HIIT. Both are high intensity and relatively short workouts. high-intensity training is an approach that helps people gain strength, muscle, and improve their overall health, whereas high-intensity interval training is an aerobic workout that alternates intervals of all-out aerobic effort with low-intensity aerobic intervals. Anyone can do high-intensity training, but it is especially useful for beginners who are learning proper technique, people with injuries and limitations that require workout customizations, and those with busy schedules. If you're new to the Perfect Workout, try a workout with us and book a free introductory session. You can find that at theperfectworkout.com.